Medic won't be winning today because House Spouse has opened up the shoulders and away it went. It'll win on debut, all right. It will absolutely spank them. House Spouse goes away and wins and does so impressively.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, a behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by the punters punter, DK.
Morning, Scoot.
How
yes,
are you?
going well, yes.
Up and about?
Still ticking along all right. Yeah, going all right. Nico.
Nico Noonan back on track.
Yeah, good to be back on track last Saturday and Wednesday, so life's getting back to a bit of normality here, which is good.
Quick question, how many were out at Caulfield on Saturday?
Oh, gee, not many. Not 5,000, I'll give you the tip.
Yep.
Maybe 1,500, sort of around that, maybe 2,000. Yeah, just because it's so spread out, some of these tracks, it's kind of hard to tell. But it was a good day out. No real sort of complaints from me from sort of how I operate and everyone I sort of talk to on the track. So, yeah, well done to the MRC. I suppose the meeting at Sandown and Caulfield runs smoothly in terms of punting. So, from a punter's point of view, so, yeah, no complaints there at all.
And what about Sandown yesterday? How many people there, would you say?
Maybe 500. Maybe.
Owners mainly and
Owners,
whatnot.
industry workers,
Yep.
bookies.
Yep. So maybe 500 fans, but yeah, owners and the like definitely got around it. Actually had a horse running yesterday at Sandown, so McPop actually came out to the races for the first time in 20 years, and then it missed the start by 2 lengths. So that's just a great game, isn't it?
Oh, I think there's proof. I think the RV should take that and run with it. The crowds, we saw probably just an essential crowd and some owners and fans and punters. Why don't we just have a cap where there's 2,000 people or 1,000 people that are, call them industry essential workers. You apply for the permit as you would, or other people, syndicators, owners, and the first in, first come serve. So I can't see why, because I can't see this COVID problem going away, not for a very long time. We're just going to be bouncing in and out of this absolute saga and the bullshit. And you can see, we're playing Mickey Mouse stuff with the AFL crowds. RV should get on the front foot and support you, support the bookies and support everyone that needs to be there. And as you say, the racetrack is a massive place and there's no harm surely in having how many you had yesterday at Sandown, maybe 500 people max, and then a total of 1,500 at Caulfield. I think it's an opportune time for another level of accreditation to make sure that people can still make an earn. It's so important that other people can still move around and get through this.
Yeah, no, that sounds like the right idea, Scoot. Yeah, and to their credit, they've been on the front foot.
They're trying.
They're trying, and they've kept racing going through all this sort of stuff, which has been great. But just rethinking it because it's a
got to evolve.
It's an evolving situation the whole time, and I had to believe every other state's in cast, and we're all right, and that's how it's going to be. It's going to yo-yo and everything. Next time we'll be off, and they'll be fine. But anyway, as you said, it's not ending anytime soon.
The other rule that needs some adjustment is what happened in Sydney last Saturday, and it's another COVID clanger. Randwick moved to Rose Hill. The track changed, but the bet stood. So as a punter, that sort of grays you up. So you can ring up and you can cancel the bets, and that creates another admin nightmare for the bookmakers, a real grey area. Some people would be having free swings and saying, I didn't know, and all this sort of stuff with their early bets, and I just bet and set and forget, and it causes an absolute bit of chaos for Tristan and the guys who said and publicly said, you can cancel your bets or whatever. But how is it possible that it's just not, as soon as the venue changes, all bets are just void and you reset the whole market? If you have a 1,000-metre race at Caulfield and I bet into that on Wednesday or as soon as final fields come open, if you move it to Flemington, the difference between a 1,000-metre race at Caulfield and Flemington up the straight is completely different. I don't want that bet to stand whatsoever, and nor should the punter.
And a lot of times, not on the metros, with the country meetings when they change, and they change the distances.
Unbelievable.
1,100 become, we don't have 1,100 start at that track, it becomes 1,000 or 1,200. Of course you don't want your ticket there. So it's a blanket rule on Racing Australia, is it? It's just not New South Wales?
Well, do you need to change it? It just needs a complete overhaul. If you change the distance or if you change the track...
Yeah.
It just needs a whole rethink.
Yeah, and then
it's crazy.
I suppose you've got the other side, though. If you've taken $21 about a horse is into $6 and they void all the bets and then, they reopen the market up at $6, well, there's always going to be that sort of argument as well. But I think definitely if they change the distances it'd be an interesting situation. Look, I didn't have an early bet in Sydney on Saturday, so it didn't affect me. But I know people who did, going from Randwick to Rose Hill, completely different tracks, really, in the way they've been playing recently. Rose Hill's been a lot sort of more up the inside than Randwick has been. It was pretty good there on Saturday, actually, played pretty fair, but it's just a whole different ball game, isn't it? You completely change the way you do form. You might have done 6 hours in the meeting, and then you go and do another 2 just to readjust your maps and all those kinds of things. So yeah, it's just another one of those things you have to deal with as a punter.
And I think our angry little man up at the Gold Coast is...
Will he be the man to ask?
Well, yeah, we'll ask him about Sydney tracks, and then we'll also ask him, there was a bit of a problem with a runner. It was really fancy, this runner, and it said that the earmuffs were going to be taken off in the race, and it's ended up racing with earmuffs on throughout the race, and it's ended up getting beaten a length or length and a half, and then the stewards have retrospectively put in that the earmuffs should have been on for the whole time. So it's a grey area, and I'll let Walt sort of elaborate on that, but...
The out wide meeting or something, was it? It wouldn't have, because surely not.
I think it was on Sunday.
Sunday, was it?
It was a Sunday meeting, but this horse was hard in the market.
Yeah, well, that's stuff.
And a stark difference.
Earmuffs can make them doughy and all that sort of stuff. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, so,
they put them on.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to him about that. But the DK out wide, the show rolls on. House Spouse, is he fair income?
Yeah, both 3 wide the trip, but
House Spouse put a hole in him, just absolutely pissed him.
That was the.
I was watching House Spouse and I thought 600 out. I thought, we could be in a bit of trouble here. And then about 3 strides away, I'm like, this is over.
All over.
Absolutely over.
But when he rode it like that, I thought, Paddy's just told him to keep this out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping. Medic was that was a great scenario when you're a punter. The favourite you put up, you're half pot and saying, it's not much good, Medic. And then got these other horse and just double check all its trials and everything and say, you've got enough talent to win. You look like a nice horse, because it pretty much trialled as good as one of Paddy's trials, you know. And then when he sat 3 wide the trip, I'm saying, I've just Paddy told W. Gordon, just keep this out of trouble, and that was the game. It's had panels on him, you know, so that was good. But and then we
Easy fair income on the synth though. You started to show your hand as a bit of a synth though.
Yeah, sort of adapted to the synth though, and that was it was like Jay Allen went on that horse, and Mitch Friedman said before the race, he's just told Johnny get him in a good rhythm, you know, and that meant that Johnny had to be 3 wide. Okay, but the beauty of they're momentum tracks.
Yeah.
Don't mind them being a bit wide, was able to build up. I sort of was a bit harsh on the thing they backed the leader there, because it was coming off it's second up of a long spell, 4-day backup of what I thought was being emptied out last Friday. She led on it like she ran it the other day, and I thought, you're going to back up off that 4 days later. You know, so I was harsh on it and harsh on the other thing. But, geez, the market, $6 to $3.80. They said, I got the stagger.
They love a horse on the 7-day backup, the big
7 days they do. But, yeah.
They
didn't care.
Less.
Yeah, but all they cared about was track and distance and apples to apples. It led and ran really well over 1,200 at Ballarat on the Poly. Ran second on Friday, and they just said, you can do that again 4 days later. It doesn't matter about, we're not worried about you not packing up. So they do love a 7-day backup. So I learned from that. I say, next time, okay, don't be so harsh on a horse like that. Just, the market's told you they like it, so you take lessons out of it. But thank God, I backed that horse because I thought he'd be strong late for us, and he was strong late for us, you know. So, anyways, but still, you get the wobbles when you're taking even money. But anyway.
If you haven't resubscribed to DK Stuff, make sure you do. $3.50 for the next 6 months, and Nico's stuff is ready for renewals too. If you're not just on the weekly or monthly.
So we've had another press on. We thought we'll got away with that one with Jay Allen on Tuesday, so we'll go Jay Allen again today.
Yeah, you got one today.
Got one today, so have cheery dome. Hope Johnny can lift it home.
The man with the golden gun at DK, he's absolutely on fire. Today's show is going to be an absolute beauty. Racing back at Murray Bridge, Shane Adair is going to be back on the show. We've got Flemington with Nico Noonan back at headquarters, and Rosie Hill with Johnny Walter from Racing Watch. So we'll push some of his buttons. Make sure if you're betting this weekend, you check out puntingform.com.au. They've got barrier, they got lane, new statistics there, and jockey and trainer stats also. So you can be a sectional pro form subscriber for $2.97 a month. All of us guys in here absolutely love it, and you can pick up lots of different patterns in how you assess the form, and the benchmark splits are definitely a game changer. You can you can see what the horses are doing. So it might look like a flashy run, but the horse has gone no good, and vice versa. So without that, it's I feel like a blind mice without using puntingform.com.au. It is fantastic. We'll take a quick break, and we'll get Beat the Bagman. We'll get Shane Adair to talk about Murray Bridge just next. Welcome back to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by DK and Nico Noonan in studio. But now it's time to talk Murray Bridge with our man, Shane Adair, Beat the Bagman. How are you?
I'm good, guys, and I guess this segment should be really taken over by DK after sending out Frankie Pino at almost $10. I'm sure is another fill up for the DK for all his subscribers as well of his out wide service. The guy can do no wrong.
We're just starting to rub in here, Shane. He comes in the door. I just give him a rub like those little gold Buddhas that you see on the desk. He's that lucky at the moment.
It was, yeah, that was good. I only turned that race. I only put the volume up when they were coming. I said, Bagman's got a Lakes Folly or something in this race. And there it was. I was watching Lakes Folly, and then sure enough, Frankie Pino straight past it, of
I
course.
was sick.
Look at it. I just wandered in. I just had a bit of a look. Oh, look at it. It's so casual.
What about Murray Bridge this weekend? I've been betting on Murray Bridge a little bit more often, thanks to you, Bagman. But as the Murray Bridge racetrack, the best thing that's happened to SA Racing since Racing.com started to telecast the races to put more eyeballs on the SA ponies?
It's a fantastic track for horse racing. Look, as a spectator, it's a little bit open, maybe a little bit windy, but as an actual horse, and I guess the way the horses pull up too with the how good the surface is there, gives every runner a chance. I guess I would liken it to a Pakenham in Victoria. Just a really good horse racing track.
It's been a game changer. Oh, yeah, I love it. I didn't really pay a heap of attention to Adelaide outside the Morphettville meetings, but
seems a very fair track
looks
as well.
Super fair.
Horses get back off the inside, they can run on, leaders can stick on, whereas you look at the Parks track and the like, and sometimes Morphettville can be advantage one spot of the track, whereas I'd say 9 times out of 10 Murray Bridge looks like you can win from anywhere. So,
but you can find runners that aren't suited there, and then they go out to Murray Bridge and they look good bets.
Yeah.
How often are they having? Is it one time a month they're having a standalone Saturday there, Bagman, or more or less? Or
yeah, on average it would work out to about that. I'd like to see it probably part of the Saturday circuit myself. I think the establishment's good enough for that. I think Morphettville, then Bridge, and then maybe a couple less meetings at the Parks would probably suit South Australian racing. I think the more we can use that venue, the better.
And give the Morphettville tracks a little bit of a spell, and I'm sure that'd do it the world of good. Let's try and find a winner out there this Saturday. We're going to have a look at race 3, the Beyond Ink Handicap. To my surprise, it's not a tattoo parlour. I think it's a house design and an architecture sort of set up Beyond Ink. And Pindarrick's the favourite there, $2.50. Street Tough from the Clarkin Yard, 4 into $3.90. Left-hand man, $6. Lara Chess is being $7.50 into 7. And then we're starting to get outside the market there with Flying Award at $15 and $19 just chipping away. But surprise, surprise, we're going to have a look at the Opperman and Clarkin combo. And here it is at Murray Bridge a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a Bagman segment without coming on and tipping a Clarker run. Isn't that right, DK?
Absolutely,
so here we go.
Absolutely. And you'd have a double whammy with Jay Opperman as well.
Oh, that's right. DK will be loading up. This is Street Tough. He's out in front at the moment in the green and white. He gets run down late by Too Good, Too Hard. This race was a benchmark 84. Look, he comes back to a benchmark 78. I think second up is a big improvement for the horse as well. I think he'll get a nice run on speed. He looks awfully hard to beat. I think our favourite, Pindarrick, he's going to have to run a career peak here to win this. He's first up. His racing's been in the lower benchmark 60s. He hasn't done a lot wrong, as you can see with the 4 wins from 4 starts, but he's going to have to go to a career high today. I think Street Tough at the price represents a lot better value bet.
He was first up that day, Nico, and you can see a little bit of a sweat down the shoulder. When a horse is first up and they're sweaty in behind and then down the shoulder, or they go to pieces behind the barriers, what does that usually tell you?
Oh, it just means they can improve, which was the main thing I'd take out of that. Especially even you see them in the jump outs and trials, they do that as well. Sometimes they sweat up a lot. So, I just think it's a fitness sort of point of thing, and those sort of factors that when a horse does do that, I think you can definitely make the case to have improvement to come out of that. This is a pretty interesting race. Like Bagman sort of touched on the favourite, Pindarrick. You got a few horses sort of that have been coming over to Victoria. Flying Award last spring was nearly favourite for the Caulfield Guineas. Now he's going around in a benchmark 78.
It's hard to believe,
$16 and looks completely in the wilderness. What do you make of his first up run, Bagman?
Look, I thought it was sound enough. He's another one who represents a good value bet, I thought. Had Pindarrick second pick at around $3.80. So I'm happy to entertain a few around these. And Street Tough I had around $3.
Yeah, it's a massive fall from grace, but I like that you're taking on the picket fence runner, and especially first up. And that horse, by the look at him, he looks like he'll improve. And that form line's great. And I love when Bagman finds a horse dropping back in class that's run an absolute bottler first up. That is a recipe.
That's the recipe?
That's a recipe for success. I'm picking up that pattern with his analysis. So let's mark that one down. Street Tough. And if the Clark and money just keeps lobbing, no doubt it will be around the mark. Hopefully that's the one Will fancies. Little Birdie tells me he's going to load up on one this weekend, so that could be the one. I'll try and tweet it out or share it once I get that mail. So stay tuned there. Let's have a look at the next race here, race 7. It's the Happy Birthday Alana handicap over 1,400 metres. We've got odds courtesy of TopSport here, and the favourite here is Melody Man, 420 into 380. Greetings, Ned, $4. Motel, $7. Short Stories, $10. Just Folk has been $9.50 out to 11, and Van City Gem has been $15 out to 16, and not much action outside of those. The horse that we're going to have a look at here is Melody Man, and it's in the Alco Pop colours, the green and the black stripes out the back.
Yeah. Melody Man was first up this day for the Jake Stevens yard. As you said, those famous colours made by Alco Pop. Look, last preparation, he put the writing on the wall as quite a stayer to watch. I thought when he'd come back, we'd go through his grades. I thought I'd found it at $17 first up, but the market agreed with me and backed it off the map. By the time I chimed in, I was probably taking unders. As you said, it's ran on really well there late to run second. I think the fitness of that run, he's a horse who's progressive. There's a lot of horses that in this event have probably reached their mark. He's on the up. Todd Panel rides. I think he's going to go awfully hard to beat. I think we can keep following it. Whatever it does today, he steps up to the 1,800, 2,000. He's a star of some promise. He's bred to get a trip, and Jake Stevens definitely knows what to do with his runners. So we'll follow Melody Man tomorrow and keep following it through his preparation.
Just looking at that, his action there and sticking at the 1,400.
I was just going to ask Bagman about that. No queries there staying at the 1,400, Bagman?
Yeah.
Look, that's the only thing for mine. I probably would have liked to have seen it probably 16 plus sort of mark. Second up, as you said, he's out of Fiorente. Extra Virgin was a very smart mare in this state. Bred to get a trip, definitely will improve whatever it does today. On Saturday, and we can keep following it. I think it will be getting the cash, though, however, on Saturday. Greetings, Ned is also in that event, who was fantastic last start. Have a very healthy respect for that. So I think Melody Man should be winning, and maybe Greetings, Ned can run the Quinella for us.
And what about the Clarkin runner in that one? I see Kayla Crow, that's her birthday today. She's on Short Stories, who's also jumping up in trip. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, Melody Man will be beating that home.
Okay. Ultra confident.
Good.
Any other thoughts in here?
I think you just got scratched. Short Stories. Looking
Did
at it? Just right then. Just coming out of the
you
market.
press the button.
So
it will be beaten at home then. It's a certainty now.
Good stuff. So it's Melody Man in race 7, and then race 3, number 1, Street Tough is Bagman. What were we going to say, Nico?
Well, with the season sort of coming to a close there, I did see sort of early in the week a bit of talk on Twitter about the SA Trainers Premiership that Hickmon's making a bit of a late sort of charge. Bagman's against him early, in race number 2 with Pindaric going with Street Tough. Do you sort of look into that at all, Shane, into sort of trainers sort of setting up their horses late in the season to potentially win that premiership?
Well, I think Michael Hickmond, as you can see by the amount of runners he's entered, not only this weekend, but the cast couple, is definitely making a big charge to try and win that premiership. It's a golden opportunity for his stable to take this title. He doesn't have as many runners as these other stables. He's got a fantastic strike rate. Actually, when I was doing the strike rates the other day, he's probably the leading strike rate trainer in the country. So he does a fantastic job. It's not only the trainers, also the jockeys are in a very tight premiership struggle at the moment. Jess Eaton and Todd Panel, that will go right down to the wire, have very good information that one prominent punter's had a very sizable bet on Todd Panel to win the premiership. So maybe there's a little bit of info there for the Little Birdie followers.
Eagle? Is that our man Eagle?
No, it's not Eagle. It's not Eagle.
Someone else.
Not Eagle.
Okay, so the SA Metro Jockey Premiership, TopSport have got a market there. Todd Panels $1.75, Jess Eaton $2.05, Stubby Holder 41, Vorster 101, and Kayla Crowther, the birthday girl, 101.
I think what you can take out of that is going to be a lot of intent from trainers and riders over these next few, however long it's
they'll
left
be
in
all
the
trying to
season.
get there.
Last month or so, they're all going to be trying to win these races.
Absolutely.
So they're going to be plenty of intent, which is great if you're looking to.
And their
back a few
stables
of
will be
these
helping the
horses.
jocks out. Vice versa, but a lot of intent.
Outstanding. All right.
All right, how's COVID over there, Bagman?
Yeah, peaked a little bit early last week, didn't I? Came out swinging. This is the state to be. We'll probably be in lockdown by the weekend. So,
that's
really flying in the tipping stakes at the moment.
Yeah, you got the most of all the premiers. Your bloke's nearly the most risk averse. Steve Marshall, he is.
I'll tell you what, but they don't mind the cash over there, the private plane.
Oh, the plane from Indonesia.
Indonesia or Vietnam. A family full of COVID ravaged, is allowed to fly
Private
in.
plane, there you are. All right,
Incredible stuff.
all over the country.
Unbelievable. All right. Thanks, Bagman. Good luck this weekend, and hopefully you can find a winner or two.
Cheers, guys. Have a great weekend.
Fantastic stuff. If you're having a bet this weekend, make sure you check out topsport.com.au. They are Australia's biggest betting bookie. They've been in the game for 35 years. The Merlehans up at the Gold Coast. They are pretty much COVID-free up there, and they won't take a backward step. They love taking punters on, and I do see that in Queensland now, all bookmakers now have to bet to a minimum of $1,000.
First of July.
1st of July.
Right.
So the betting rules have changed. So make sure if you're getting bets rejected from TopSport or any other bookie from Queensland Racing onwards today, it's bet to win 1,000. So dob your bookie in and we'll tweet it and we'll talk about it. We're here for the punters. And so are TopSport. TopSport are pretty big on minimum bet laws, and they are campaigning for it as much as they can. They love to take a bet because that's what grows the game.
I have to pull you up though. He's not COVID free up on the Gold Coast, mate. I was supposed to be going there on Sunday, and they were OFF. So that's a red zone. Yeah, I mean, I think there's only one case there or something, but some lady up there's travelled all over the state with it. Unbelievable. So we're going to we're going to Safety Beach instead of going to the fucking Gold Coast. Anyway.
Shark Bay, Safety Beach.
We might take a break and we'll talk about Flemington races. DK might be out there instead. Go to Flemington for a holiday.
Yeah. That'd be your missus would love that. More racing.
12 degrees and raining at Flemington, so that's going to be great.
Go to Crown. Go to the big house.
Yeah, I got a big house.
We'll take a break. Welcome back to Bet Doctor. Behind the curtain, look at how pro punters operate. I struggle with that one. I'm your host, Scoot, and I've got DK and Nico, and it's time to talk about Flemington back at headquarters. How good is that? We love betting here. All horses, or most horses, get a chance unless they're sort of buried in the coffin in the fence, but it's a cracking track. He's doing a really good job, Liam O'Keefe, with the track out there. The first race we're going to have a look at is race 5, the MSS Security Rivet Series Finals day out at Flemington, Nico. Rivet series.
Rivets.
Rivet.
Pop rivet.
I'm riveted. Anyway, let's have a look at the market. Odds courtesy of TopSport. We've got Star of Uma, $3.90. Aidensfield's been $5.50 into 5. Foxy Freed at $6. Divine Dios at $6.50. Tiny little move there. Comica, $10 into $9.50. Sensationalization. $13. Gee, I struggled pronouncing a couple of tennis players yesterday on the sports show, and I'm starting to get grade up on the nags. But we're going to have a look at the replay of Star of Yuma, last time winning in Adelaide. You think the Adelaide form's good enough on finals day, Nico?
Yeah, well, a lot of the Melbourne form's no good. So, definitely the interstate form could be to the fore there on Saturday. This was Star of Yuma last start. I think it was on the Parks track at Morpheville. Just kind of sat second and was just way too good for her opposition here. Comes away from him. Wins this race with ease. Although she didn't beat much, she's come to Victoria before. She started $5 in the Twilight Glow, where she ran third behind Hindam and La Mexicana. La Mexicana sort of put up a picket tent through the autumn and actually beat Aidensfield convincingly sort of in February earlier this year. So you can get a bit of a form tie in there. Look, this isn't a strong race. Aidensfield, off her spring form, or you'd say she'd come here and just win. I thought her run first up was just okay. I thought her jump outs leading in weren't that good. She's got barrier number 1 here. I'm sort of questioning where she's going to get to on the map. And like I said, I don't know if she's in the same sort of form as she was sort of last spring. I thought that first up run was just sort of okay. She had every sort of possible chance there from 13 and couldn't get past a few horses who, the Free to Move won that race at 150s, and Brenlan's Trooper ran second at 200s or something. So I don't know if that's the sort of greatest form race. So Star of Yuma comes here, she's fit, she's in form. She gets Mark Zara from barrier number 12. I think they're going to have to send her right forward. They could potentially even lead this race. She's shown the capability to do that, and it looks suited staying at the 1400. The horses outside of her as well, like Divine Diosa had a complete PR last start at Caulfield last week where she just sucked along the fence. Foxy Frieda's a mile, or she stays at the 1400, but she won a really weak race and is now sort of a month between runs. So I just think there's so many holes in these other horses that she looks pretty easy to find at sort of $3.20, and I was happy to back her at that price.
What do you think about this one?
I just had a look. There didn't look a lot of speed on paper there, and she's going to come across. Maybe her and Comica, they're just going to get a very nice time.
We get Zara.
And get Zara. So you see what he does with those horses, Ulog January and things like that he's been riding on pace and just getting them to rate them well, and just keep kicking up the straight, very hard to get past. So, and like I said, there's not a lot of strength in the local form, so some fresh legs from out wide could be to the fore from when McAvoy's horses are going well at the moment.
Yeah, like there could be like the Banjo Patterson Series 5 Grand Promenade's $1.80. He'll probably win. Dice Roll's short price favourite in the Winter Championship. He'll probably win. But, looking away from the sort of complete obvious, I thought she was a horse on the card that, at sort of $3 plus, I'd be happy to get involved there. Just looking for a bit of DF on this program, especially in a few of these fillies and mares races for sure.
What about Divine Diosa on the backup? I know it probably got favours, but still beat a pretty good horse there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm Thunderstruck was on his best there. He missed a start and he didn't parade that well either, which I was sort of expecting him to improve off what he did at Sale, and he didn't that much. She's very well exposed. Like you go back 3 starts, she's beaten in a benchmark 64. I think Star of Yuma's going to be a proper Saturday class sort of mare going forward. I don't know if Divine Diosa will be. So I was kind of happy enough just to back in what I think is going to be the best horse in the race, and she gets the best setup. She'll go forward, get Zara, and she's in form. So, $3 plus, happy to bet there.
And Tony McAvoy has a knack for spiking horses off bad runs or figuring them out, like something else, like you're rolling your...
No,
he can get them from the brink.
They can be hard, but in that same way, it can be very hard to catch.
Absolutely.
But I think if they're solid in the market around this quote, like you had 2 first starters around this $3 to $4 range debuted at Bent Ballarat. One got beaten at Pimple and one won. So they're there to run well. They're on pace. I think if the market's sort of into them at these around this price, I think they're going to run really well, especially on pace horses like it.
Yeah, you can definitely
it
reverse
has
horses.
been hard to catch in the past.
Yeah, like he just surprised me. A horse is absolutely gone, and then he figures them out somehow. Yeah, it is as a punter. It's awfully frustrating. Let's have a look at the next one on the card. The race 7 we're going to preview here. The GH Mum Mahogany Challenge Final. No worries about the pronunciation there, DK. I
love the Mum. Love a bit of Mum. Be on it the last week of July.
Unique Artist 460 out of 5. Ruba 550. Don Arcaneglo is 7 into $6. Token Spirit $6. Literati $10. Murrumbidgee River $11, and Cakewalk Baby 16 into 13. Nico, we're going to have a look at the John O'Shea runner, Don Arcaneglo or something.
Arcangelo, is it?
Yeah, Arcangelo.
Yeah, so he's just sort of blending into the race here in the Kerwin's Lane colours, which the punters at home would be familiar with Walter tipping a few times. But here he is just pulling away from his rivals in the blinkers. This was the first time he sort of stepped out to a real trip. This was only, 5 days ago. So it must have been...
He's on the 7-day backup Sunday.
So it'll be the 7-day backup. This was 2,300, comes to 2,500, which I think will be a positive. He's had a really good grounding this preparation. He's had 2 1,600-metre runs, then he had 2 1,800-metre runs, then wins that. I know that was a Class 1 at Newcastle when you look in behind him, and like the horses he beat were absolutely legless by the looks of it. Smashed him though. It looks like a different horse since the blinkers have gone off. You get Willow, who's absolutely flying, like we saw.
Maybe.
Or if he can come down.
No, he's down. He's down. They've let him. He's supposed to be isolated for 14 days. This is Craig Williams. I read about it. They've let him accept rides on Saturday on the proviso that if they change Queensland to a orange zone between now and Friday night, they're going to give him some grace. So that's why he's got the rides. So. But he's supposed to be doing. He's part of that 14-day isolation. So a bit messy, but anyway. But if he gets Willow, ideally. But there's a little query there.
Well, prayers we do get Willow. Like I said, this horse is just very progressive, and he strikes a field here that, like, these 2,000 metre races that have been run at Flemington and Caulfield, they're just sort of, every time that these 3-year-olds are running around, like, the DF's just winning. Unique Artist come out of a high rating maiden last start and absolutely bolted in. The race before that, Namarkwa came out of a Ballarat synthetic benchmark 58 and won comfortably.
Yep.
So I think the DF's just so sort of potent in these races, and he is that. He's on the quick backup. Like, if we get Willow, that's a huge tick. He's definitely going to run 2,500 metres. He just looks a complete stayer. That's on the
DF is saying different form, yeah?
Different form, yep. So for people at home that don't know, like, a lot of these are very intertwined. Rabea just, I think you'll be sort of getting out to 2,400, but just doesn't seem like he can put one of these races away. Unique Artist won last start, but, you know, she was $26 and now she's sort of $4 here. I don't know if you'd want to be getting involved there. Token Spirit had a complete birthday at Sounddown where they went real slow just to sit and sprint. The Main Danger got stuck in behind him and he was just sort of just left there to win the race. So there's just holes everywhere in this race, and I thought Don Arcangelo, or whatever his name is, can definitely give us a sight here at sort of $7. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts favourite, to be honest, just on the back up and with that different form line. It
was a really weak race. I was betting into the Don Arcangelo race, and I took him on. And I think the caller, Luke Marlowe, who he's not a bad judge, he said the only worry about this horse is whether he runs a trip. That was the only danger, because I think he won at about even money.
Yep.
Looking at that footage, he looks like he'll get the extra, or like the way he was ridden there, it looks like more distance.
He was coming up from what, 18?
He was up from 1,800.
That was 2,300. Now he goes to 2,500.
So the trainer's telling you, John O'Shea's, he's not jumping him 18 to 2,000. He's put him 18 to 2,350. He's telling you he's a mile and a half horse.
I haven't run the stats on it, but I'm sure if we did, John O'Shea bringing his horses to Melbourne, they've just been very sort of profitable, I imagine. A lot of the horses he's brung down here in recent sort of times, he had a really good carnival, sort of going back to last spring. So definitely a trainer you can look for when he travels his horses. And to Scoot's point, saying this horse will be strong late, like if you look back at that replay, he's worked through the line. Like they go 100 metres past the post and he's just putting a further gap.
There you go. That's the icing.
That was probably the main thing I was looking at to say he'll run 2,500.
Yeah, the other thing these good trainers do, and you probably is the bloods, or what is it, that lactic test they give him that can tell them whether they got the stamina and they can stay or not. And that's why he would have been happy to. He's saying this horse it's all start pointing this horse being a mile and a half horse. He doesn't need to run at 2,000 metres. We'll just step him straight up. So, and off that, then he goes to and we like a horse around that distance range. There's another tick who's had the run around that distance range. So he's had that run at the mile and a half, basically, going to a Flemington mile and a half. That sets up well from other horses who are stepping up off 2,000.
The other horse that was a pretty impressive first start winner was Murrumbidgee River on the Ballarat.
Yes, that hurt.
Won by 3 lengths that day.
It did, and
wasn't fancied though.
That's why I didn't back it, bloody thing. So there was a hole in all what Nico talked about, a hole in all the race in that race. So I went looking. There was 2 first starters, one from Matt Kamani, fair well, yeah. This horse cost $350,000 as a yearling, Murrumbidgee River. That piqued me straight away. Fiorente, $350,000 must be a magnificent type. Anyways, nothing in the trials at all, but Jay Allen on. I thought, well, there's a bit of intent there with Jay Allen anyway. I decided not to bet in the race. All the money came with the Kamani thing. Jay Allen was late. I said, I'll just stay out. Their first starters. And anyway, it bloody won. They both were really good runs, but it won. So it's obviously a very nice type. But I
don't know how you take that into
1,500 Syntho to then jumping up immediately.
And it was a great. Jay Allen just got all the momentum just as he rides those horses so well. So yeah, so 15 was he?
1,500 to 25 at his second
25
start.
at second start, but again,
it's the right camp, and then it goes Allen to Zara. So for me, that just rings alarm bells at that price.
But he must be a nice, like $350,000 for a Fiorente. And then I went and Googled it about what they said about him at the sales and everything, and they said, yeah, he's a magnificent type. And I just thought, oh, geez, he might be a slow horse looking at his trials, but he's obviously a mile and a half. He's obviously a 3,000 metre horse.
I think the gelding operation really sort of did wonders there.
He couldn't get out of his own way in the first trials. They've probably tried him as some sort of staying stallion prospect because Sun Stud stayed in him, and he could not get out of his own way. And then they gelded him, and he showed a bit more. So bloody interesting. It's just I was dirty that I looked at him for about 30 minutes, that horse, and I never had a coin on him. I was just a bit, then he bloody won. But anyway, it is what it is. But it's I just like learning. It's always bits of the puzzle, you know.
Outstanding stuff. So we might have a bet on the Don, and I might have a little sneaky saver on Murrumbidgee River. Make sure you check out puntingform.com.au. Their 200-metre sectionals are brilliant. It's not only on Australian racing, it's Hong Kong and Singapore. You can get all the splits, so www.puntingform.com.au and support one of our sponsors. We'll take a quick break, and we've got Rosehill next with Angry Walt. Not happy about
what are you talk to him about?
Yeah, not happy about the earmuffs. And the New South Wales tracks are a bit funny at the moment. Warwick Farm was an absolute cow paddock yesterday, and it just seems like the wet weather, they just can't really cope with it as well as Victoria, can they? It's a lot wetter up there.
Yeah, true.
I concede, but be interesting to see. He speaks to a lot of trainers and jockeys, so we'll ask him what they talk about when talking about New South Wales metro tracks. We'll take a quick break. Welcome back to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. Got DK and Nico in studio, and now it's time to talk to our angriest friend at the Gold Coast, Johnny Walter from Racing Watch. How are you, big fella? You giving that boxing bag a bit of a run through?
Mate, I've been laying DKs for weeks because I don't believe he can keep this run up. So I've been giving it a nice workout because they all seem to be saluting.
That's it.
Absolutely airborne. You've got some COVID up in the Gold Coast and ruined
COVID-infested joint.
DK's holidays absolutely gone to shit.
I was coming up to see you.
We had to fake a few to make sure he couldn't get across the border, but everyone sort of put their heads together up here and thought it was worthwhile to keep him out. So we've bound together. It's brought us closer.
Speaking of faking it, we spoke about it earlier on in the show, and seems like, was it Sunday, they left the earmuffs on a runner, despite them saying pre-race that they were going to take them off, and then retrospectively the stewards have said, no, the earmuffs were meant to be on for the entire race. Well, run us through this absolute circus. What happened?
So I don't mind the old trial in earmuffs and then come off race day, usually a bit of intent. So it misses the kick in its trial, circles them, obviously got really good speed, obviously a bit of a hot head or something like that. They wouldn't be putting the earmuffs on if it was fully tractable, but trialled really well against an open class horse, then goes back to the maiden. Pre-race earmuffs only was the gear for Sunday. Going around to the gates, normally they're red earmuffs when they come off behind the gates because they're removable. This thing had the black earmuffs on. I'm seeing it sort of 7-8 minutes out, so I thought I'd better tweak the respective people, and never obviously got a reply. After the race, waiting for the steward's report for 2 days, nothing in the steward's report, and you might want to watch the ride too. It was a bit quiet. But anyway, that's another situation. And then I thought, I better tweet, and then I go and check the gear. Now we've got earmuffs on. Despite me sort of sending a picture of the gear on the day on the original tweet, then 2 days later we now have earmuffs on. Pre-race earmuffs off, earmuffs on. And, the horse was only beaten a length. It was one, I can't remember the name of it. I haven't slept since, but, anyway.
As the trainer just ballsed it up, because it sounds like the intent should have been to have the red earmuffs, and then they've put on the wrong ones and the black ones, and it's gone around in the earmuffs. Is it just a complete balls up from the trainer here, and then the stewards have...
I'd say Racing Australia's missed the gear change.
Okay.
Racing Australia. Because the stewards, there's a cadet steward there. His job is check all the gear on the horses when they come in. You got the blinkers on, you got this tick, tick, tick. So something's gone awry somewhere.
He's had a big night. Where was it?
I'd say because if it was the trainer, they would have dispatched him and fined him or whatever. But for it to just be a late gear change 2 days after the race, I would say that it was a clerical error.
Not
but, it was $6 to $3.50, and some people don't take earmuffs as seriously as I do. But I dead set, you go for a run in, with earplugs in and see how you go.
Yeah, I do. I sleep in earplugs. My missus is pregnant. She's snoring her head off.
Nothing worse.
Absolute torture. It's another story. I could talk about it for a long time. But you speak to a lot of, in the past, you've spoken to a lot of jockeys and trainers, and I was betting away at Warwick Farm yesterday, found a couple of runners, and it was a bit of a cow paddock. What's the sentiment from trainers and jockeys about New South Wales metro tracks? Because punters are pretty vocal. When it's heavy, or it just seems to be wetter than it should be all the time.
Oh, drainage-wise, yeah, obviously it is. I think they've sort of all just learnt to deal with it. So you know how how they all sort of play under circumstances. Like Warwick Farm, if it's a little bit wet, you sort of get off the fence and you can slingshot around them. If it's really wet, doesn't really matter where you are. So you can cut up the inside and it's sort of just a ploughed paddock, like you said. Others, different sort of Canterbury, it doesn't really matter. It's fence, doesn't matter anymore. Randwick outside, they all play pretty consistently. So from a jockey's perspective, I don't think they really care. Trainers may get more frustrated that their horses are, not penalised, but, suited one way or the other. But, they should know because the tracks are pretty consistent. I don't really, as a punter, that's all you want. I'm not too, the tracks probably, the drainage could probably improve. But if they do that, what's it going to do to the tracks? So at least now we've got an established pattern that you can sort of, you know what you're going to get, which is all you really want. So if they start messing with drainage and things, all of a sudden fences are on fire or, lanes and things like that. So it is what it is. It's workable at the moment. And, I don't think they're too bad.
And you're a bit disappointed. Last Saturday, we were chatting sort of off air about Eagle Farm, and Craig Williams was absolutely on fire. I thought he rode Tofane to an absolute treat. Just put the race out of doubt in a very early stage. It was one of Fletcher's best. I think it was an early TopSport bet. It was $6. It got crunched into about $3.40 or something like that. But I was staggered, as you were, how many jockeys in Brisbane just stayed to the fence or stayed to those inside lanes, and not more of them tried to find that outside fence.
Yeah, so Tofane obviously had plenty on him, and once you've got that sort of, it's obviously easier to get to where you need to get to if your horses are travelling strongly and all that sort of thing. But there's just so many drawn, middle to inside gates that were just resigned to the fact they weren't going to get there. So they just waited for an inside run and just took it. It was really weird. There was no angling. There was no attempt to get anywhere near. But I do think the majority of people in racing don't understand that, that it's not a matter of a half a length or a neck, riding a bias. It's, 4, 5, 6 lengths in some cases. And I just don't think that has ever hit home with a lot of them. So they just think, oh, well, the run's there, I'll take it, rather than you're basically putting yourself out of the race. They don't see it that way.
Yeah, you even saw with Willow, even when he was sort of riding out to Fano, he's still trying to get to those outside lanes that last 300. So even with his whip, he's kind of not hitting the horse, but he's sort of guiding it to get out wider and wider and wider.
He's a great proponent of the whip, great user of the whip. He's just, I've said it before.
And great track walker, great tactician. So if you got any doubt, surely you just follow him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just absolutely schooling him. So, it blows my mind. But that's the difference. And we talk about it all the time, jockeys in form, and DK mentioned it on last week's show. There's definitely the apprentices at the moment, the good ones. We saw Josh Richards, he rode 4 winners the other day. Four-time the other day. And then the good jockeys are still around because of COVID. Carr and Lane and Benny Mellum and all this sort of riders. So they're the jockeys and combinations that you need to follow. And it's very stark, and a great example of that was Eagle Farm last Saturday. So go back and learn a few lessons from that meeting. Let's have a look at Rose Hill. We already discussed Randwick to Rose Hill last week and moving tracks. I know, Walt, you think it's like racing, moving a meeting from Earth to Mars. So we've already covered that one.
Well, at worst, you've got to have the option to cancel your bets. At worst, if not, it should be a new meeting. And I understand some people get better odds than not. And last week we were the ones who had the better odds, but I didn't want triple the odds at the different racetrack, regardless. And I think you should at least have the option. And I had a situation with the Tab where I love they come out and say they're the guy, ring up and we'll allow you. Their system does not have the availability to cancel a bet if it's a leg of a multi. So, you've got a live bet, you've got a live bet going for them, but what if it's a last leg of the multi, you've got going for a life-changing result, you can't cancel. So, I'm not saying they're false advertising, but it was very, selected advertising of what they can and can't do. They can cancel individual bets, but not multi-bets, and it's because it's part of their system is the only reason that's the rule. It's not because they don't want to, or it's not really good enough.
Yeah, you're fond of a multi, and there's been many times where I've taken a multi and one leg gets sausage, then you don't really want the bet. So I understand. I understand where Walt's coming from there. All right, let's have a look at this Saturday. Let's try and find a winner. And I don't think they're going to move this meeting, but funny things have happened. We're looking at the TopSport Highway Class 3 handicap. Hellenism is the favourite here, 5 into 4, 80. Private Agent, $5. Night Driver, $5.50. Anthol is 7. Absolute Trust, 11. Moeta, 12. And Lady River, 13. That's about as far as we're going to go. And I think we're going to have a look at the first up run of Hellenism. Talk us through this one, Walt, in the lime green on the fence.
So I'm tipping, like, obviously prepped up a little bit, but it was 370 8 days between runs here. So obviously very good
Second
improvement
horse,
to come. The horse that beats it here is a horse called Mirror Vision. Mirror Vision's come out and ran well and then won in town since. So good, strong form lines for dropping back to a highway we're talking about here. So, and there's also Cafe Royale's come out and won in town, and Reduced Images won twice up in Queensland, I believe. So it finished back in the pack there. So pretty good, strong form for that. 1200 first up. You'd expect it to improve. It went to Warwick Farm on a heavy track its next start. Again, ran really well, like a pretty aggressive ride, we'll call it, there, and sort of hit the front, late petered out and got a bit of a check. So completely forgetting how far it was beaten there. And also I like that it's had it's had the first up run. I'm saying that was a bit of a gut buster. It's had the clean out run since 19 days, back to 1100 from 1200. Gate 1, we get Blake Spriggs off, Tim Clark on, and going back in grade to a Class 3 set weights highway or whatever it is. And what did you say, $4.80? I'd be surprised if this horse starts north of 2 to 1.
Wow. All right. Yeah.
Box sticker.
I like the way it just pushed its way through the fence. There's nothing worse when a horse gets cluttered up and they just sort of suck out the back. So it's got a little bit of a character and a bit of will about this horse.
And it'll be in the coffin again here. DK will be on the edge of his seat.
Very one. Anything there for you, Nico?
No, I probably agree with Walt there. I sort of looked at this and thought, well, the 12 back to 11 looks pretty suited there. So, no sort of other thoughts from me. No.
All right. Let's have a look at race 6. I thought it was the Lady Lynette here, but it's the Lynette Lamphy Memorial Handicap. We've got odds courtesy of TopSport on the screen here, and Canasta is 380 into 350. Oscar Zulu is 440 into 390. Cisco Bay 480. $6 Grand Piano. New Arrangement 850. Ruby Tuesday 11 into 950. That's moved this morning. Someone might have knocked it off.
11 already, you dog.
I didn't know. I haven't backed it. I haven't touched it. Military Zone, $19 into 17, and Kiss Your Mother, the rest. We're going to have a look at the replay of Ruby Tuesday, last start in the white with the pink, bright pink.
So they went out really quick here. Probably, I would have, or not saying it's that wide, no cover the whole way. So when we've chimed into the replay there, it's worked the whole race, it's worked around the field, and then obviously by now it's entitled to get tired off a really fast tempo. And I'm just going to bring up how quick they went. I think they went like 6 or 7 above. They went about 6 above.
Seen too many's the winner at 50s. Zing second.
Yeah, Le Chevalier was stiff there, and I think goes around a pretty short price favourite in another race in the day. This horse has had quite a long prep and had hard race, and that's probably the only query I've got. But this is the first time it draws a soft gate. Even if it misses the kick, what I am expecting here is similar to last week. Canasta's sort of been hanging around this 13, 14, 14, 15 on the 7-day backup. I think he's just being a bit one-paced, and he looks to get full control here of the speed with Ruby Tuesday right behind him. I see Ruby Tuesday sort of pulling off the back, maybe out sprinting, and then either Oscar Zulu, Cisco Bay, these horses are going to have to make up ground to run down Ruby Tuesday. I don't think it's anywhere near a moral, but I thought the $11 was just wrong. Certainly of the two races, the first race is my more confident selection, but I do think Ruby Tuesday is over the odds just because of just a pure map bet at Rosehill. A horse going really well, wet track, no problem, coming off a really good effort last start, and should be just in the right place at the right time on Saturday. 52 kilos as well.
Does look a hot little race.
Yeah, probably a good position to find Rachel King as well, just sort of stalking in behind the speed there. Seems to be where she does a lot of her better sort of riding.
Agree. I just don't want. All I don't want to see is it missing at half and her jamming the shit out, because it actually does have decent speed. And if it does miss it a little bit, which the horse is probably odds on to do, I just want her to just be patient and just get the back of Canasta and she'll be fine. I just don't want to see her jam it and then her and Canasta ending up 7 in front or something crazy like that. But, $11 from the run it should get with no weight, as long as she's counts to 20 instead of 5 or something, we should be fine.
Looking at the meeting, sort of a few of the other races, or the other, 8 races on the card, given there's 10 there on Saturday, there's a few horses up from Melbourne. Sir Davy early in the program, a lot of the Mar horses, Mar Eustace, Maserati Bay's gone up there as well, who looked like he was knocking on the door for a win down here in Melbourne. How do you sort of treat that from a Sydney form analyst point of view, Walt, with these Melbourne shippers coming up?
Brutal. So it's like nearly a glorified provincial meeting, probably a Wednesday meeting. So it's not silly for these guys to come hunting the crazy prize money. I think it's the first day we jumped to 130, and I think the highways we did 100 and it's over 100. So it's very difficult where you've got like a provincial meeting or a Wednesday, a lot of form lines, like decent provincial horses and those borderline horses trying to sort of meeting in different form lines for the first time. Then you throw in Melbourne, then you throw in wet tracks, then you throw in a lot of the jockeys are away. It's diabolical, really. And 10 race cards. I know they want big fields, and they have got them for most of the day, but that only makes our jobs more difficult. And it's probably the hardest meeting on first look I've seen in a long time. And the highway turned out to be, not too bad, I don't think. But the rest of them, extremely difficult to line all these form lines up, especially with, it could be anywhere from a 6 to an 8 or a 9. Not easy.
Gee, I tell you what, not easy is 11 o'clock start in the morning. 11 till 4:30. I know DK is a proponent of 10 race cards on Saturday, but geez, 11 o'clock, you'd be barely back from Auskick. The bacon and egg roll would just be starting to hit the guts.
2-year-old race full of first starters first, then a staying race for this. And then, the real racing starts at midday,
later.
12:30, yeah. I haven't looked
tight schedule in the morning.
Right, put the participants races on early, and then you get the real races started. The punting races after that. That's the go, Scoot.
And the Perth viewers, they're cracking into it at 9 a.m. First race at Rose Hill. So it's it's really
Tony
really
Brassel at 7. Get up at 7, mate. Cornflakes with Brassel, and you're ready by 9 to launch.
Oh, outstanding. Let's have a look at the TopSport big bets. There's a couple of beauties in here. Rose Hill race 2, number 3, Hellenism. Gee, I think
you stopped at $5 as well, you dog.
2,500 at $5, Hellenism. So Walt's obviously got one of his mates to just steam in, or it could be his own. And then Rose Hill race 9, number 7, Lackeen. It's on the move too, $6.50. I think top odds there was $7, and now it's started to trickle off into the $5.50 range. So Walt's saying that race 2, number 3, Hellenism, is the best of his 2 races that he's previewed. And the next big... Hey?
Clearly.
Won't, what is it, $3 in the new language as the top price, or where he'd stop backing Hellenism at. He's encouraging you to absolutely chip up there. And Flemington, race 5, number 6, Foxy Frida, 1,000 at $6. Any interest there, boys?
Well, we're against, given we're tipping Star of Unima there. So, she's got a chance, Foxy Frida.
She's having a good prep.
She's racing well. She's nearly a month between runs there on Saturday. 5 at 1,000, I wouldn't be putting it on her, that's for sure.
And Flemington, race 6, number 2, Dice Roll is the other one, 3,000 at $2.30. Nick Ryan camp.
The quick shooters were fast on the money there, Nico.
They went up too big a price. Like,
2 to 1.
Dead set be $1.70 off what he did last start.
$2.15 currently at TopSport.
The sharpshooters were straight on as it went off. Went off at 1 minute later.
I think you could take $2.15 because I think he'll start shorter. It's a horse the syndicates will probably look to get very involved in. He's had 3 runs here in Australia. He's won all of them. He's been set for the race. He's got a very easy map from, I think, barrier 6 or 7. I think anything above evens, you could probably chip up there, to be honest.
What about when the mighty Kerwins lets loose?
I see that. Kerwins Lane.
Nah, Dice Roll could be sort of group class come the spring. I don't know if Kerwin's Lane's at that sort of level.
There's a bit of talk about Dice Roll.
2 starts ago, that's all we care about.
That's it.
We've already got the money. Who cares? Couldn't agree more. And then the other one is Unique Artist, and it's 1,500 at $5.50 in race 7. Do we want to hold that ticket? Maybe not.
Well, you'd hope someone who's had that bet backed at last start and's throwing something on again, you know. Wouldn't be missing last start.
take
Having your
the
first
free
bet on
roll.
there.
You're
And it was-
26 last start, now you're
and
550.
750 to 280 to start before that. So if you, someone
They've got
just, hopefully
plenty of cash.
they're playing up their money, you know.
Outstanding stuff. That's a wrap from us. Any final thoughts, Walt? You want to launch? You any update in your little
British Open
detention?
next week. I got my appeal Monday. British Open the following week, so she's all happening.
They're going to let you out of the country on the bag for one of your good mates. Aaron, was it Aaron Price?
And
Yeah,
Pike.
Pike Price was a good mate. Yeah, he's not playing, but yeah, no, he's doing it tough. He just flies straight from Ohio on Jason Day's private jet straight into the airfield there, 500 yards from the racetrack, whereas I'll be in cattle class going via Mumbai most likely and probably end up doing 55 hours or something. But what can you do?
COVID might get you.
No, doesn't get red people.
The Hulk juice. The Hulk juice will set you free. I still got the grapes on ice, and we might have to put you on ice, give you a couple of weeks off in the paddock, and we'll welcome back the other maniac from the show, Casey McCutcheon, Mint Ben. I tell you what, he must have been having a couple of beers the other night. He was tweeting absolute garbage.
One out to the UK, one back from the UK. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Bit of
Someone's
rotation
subbing
policy.
in, subbing in.
Freshen up. Good luck on the weekend, Walt, and hopefully we can back a winner, and hopefully they don't change tracks.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
Thanks, mate. All right, that's a wrap from us. We've got the Bris Vegas show with Caloundra Cup Day, our last week of the Queensland previews, and then we're going to put that little show into the paddock. But we'll keep cracking away for another couple of weeks with Bet Doctor.
Yep.
We might have a week off, freshen up.
we have got the trialling the whole week of no racing at the end of July. Remember, end of the season or whatever. So that might be the week to do that scooty.
Interesting scenario that. Like, we had a horse run yesterday, unfair dismissal. Now we're like, well, do we back him up next week? And then you sort of have a few, you can probably get 2 runs out of him. Then you have 1, and then you get that no race week. So there's going to be interesting scenarios come with that, because, people could be in the same boat as us. Do you try to sneak in 2 runs before that? Do you go 1 and then try to get a run the next week when every horse in Victoria wants to get a run in races? So
the week of the 26th of July will be the one that there's no racing.
I think it's like Saturday to Saturday, isn't it?
I reckon we can get in 3 lunches, Scooty, that week.
That week? I don't know if I've got 3 lunches in me. Not after last week. Nearly killed me.
Anyway.
Fantastic stuff. Make sure you check us out on our YouTube channel, Little Birdie TV, Bet Doctor on the Twitter handle if you want to just watch this show only, and racing content, horse racing content. And we're in Apple and Spotify and the SoundCloud stores as well, so you can hear us and get your winners any which way you like. But good luck on the weekend. Make sure you get around Nico's Mounting Yard Mail Pack. All the best.
So, yep.
See you guys.